Hey everyone, RedyTAY here again with another attempt to add a solo Pokemon challenge. Meditite was an interesting and still challenging run. Well, we are sticking with that trend of using a Pokemon that has a good type combination, some decent moves, but the stats are going to make the majority of the challenge. We are now going to venture into a Gen 1 remake as we see if you can beat Pokemon LeafGreen with one Tentacool. Okay, this one I actually did use. Kinda. I would catch one of these sometimes when I was younger, and I would use it, but I would get bored with it easily because I'm not a big fan of moves like Wrap or Constrict. Maybe patience really wasn't a virtue for me when I was younger. Well, now I'm going to be using Tentacool and only Tentacool in this match, so I don't have a choice. So going back to the type combination, Water and Poison is a good combo for the most part. As you can see, we are only going to be weak to Ground, Electric, and Psychic. Look at all the things we resist too. Move-wise, it is going to be a slow start, but not like the Meditite run. I mean, it does stink being a water type that doesn't want a water move until level 25. We have a straightforward attacking move at the start this time, it's just very weak. Having moves like Poison Sting, Constrict with a terrible attack stat against Brock's rock types won't be easy. But later on in the game, some of these moves can be promising. TM-wise, there's not really a lot of moves that break away from the water poison gimmick, but there are some good ones floating around here. And yes, I am eyeing an ice move. Stat-wise is where we really have to address things. Again, first form starter bad, if not worse. Great special defense all things considered, decent speed, but look at the rest of this. I really hope we have a better special attack stat than our last run. But still, look at this HP, attack, and defense. That special defense isn't even going to be worth it if we're going to be sporting an HP like that. Basic rules first, I can only use Tentacool throughout the whole game, and can't evolve it. HM Pokemon can be used so I can still get around. No cheats or hacks can be used to advance, and I'm going to be following the trend where no items can be used in battle. I'm not quite sure what to expect in this run. Slower start for sure, trying to get to a point to beat the Rock Gym, just like my last challenge with Meditite, but we should be in a decent enough place for a lot of this. I'm not really looking forward to facing Sabrina, and I am worried about Lieutenant Surge, but he doesn't scare me as much as Sabrina does. Okay, jumping in, and we get started right away by going to the tall grass and getting taken to Professor Oak's lab. When I was setting stuff up in the Pokemon randomizer, I decided to have Tentacool replace Squirtle. It was a simple water type replacing a water type, still probably not the best matchup though. Our rival is now going to be picking Bulbasaur, but just because it's a grass type doesn't mean it's going to be a major disadvantage. The fact Tentacool is part poison means that grass moves will just do neutral damage. And with both of us being part poison, it also kind of takes the status conditions out of the picture. Basically, we will just have to be hard hitting as we continue to battle this thing. Anyway, stats. We are quirky in nature, which means neutral stat gains. That's fine, helps keep the game simple. Our ability is Liquid Ooze. Basically, anytime we get hit with an HP draining move, it will damage the opponent instead of healing them. Honestly, I don't think this will be of much use in the game. I kinda wish we had Clear Body instead, but I'm not going to reset the game for that. I nickname our Tentacool T-Baker, because he's a jelly baby. I mean, he's a jellyfish. Battling our rival was as boring as you would think. Bulbasaur spams Tackle, we spam Poison Sting. I am thankful that it is hitting as hard as I thought it would. Our speed stat saves the day here since we take Bulbasaur down, but only with 2 health remaining. If we attack second, we would have lost that fight for sure. So moving forward, I take care of the usual tasks you do at the early stages of the game. I do plan to attempt the second optional rival battle, but I will need some levels if I want to come out on top. At level 8, we give the rival battle a go, and yeah, it did not go well. His Pokemon are a little higher in level than I remembered. So we grind a little more and decide to see how grinding goes in the Viridian Forest. I knew going through here was going to be terrible, but this is actually worse than I thought it would be. Weedle are especially annoying, and it's not for fear of them poisoning us because, well, they can't. Instead, it's the fact that we don't have a move against them that deals significant damage. I mean, look at the battle against this bug catcher that has 2 Weedles and a Kakuna. This battle is long, tedious, and if it wasn't for some good confusion luck from Supersonic, we would have lost. We are really feeling the pinch here when it comes to not having a good attacking move. I get T-Baker to level 10 and decide to give the rival battle another go. Pidgey immediately gets poisoned by our Poison Sting, so we are off to a great start. It does respond with a Sand Attack though, so we do have to worry about our accuracy some. We are able to land Supersonic though in the next move, so at least Pidgey is not poisoned and confused. But that is all very short-lived. We get one good turn of Pidgey getting hurt by poison and confusion damage before it snaps out of confusion. Meanwhile, we miss a poison sting and get hit by tackle. The next turn goes better with us landing poison sting, and with the poison damage Pidgey has, it's hanging on now by a sliver. It soon goes down and we are still in green health when Bulbasaur comes out. I decide to start this part of the battle with Supersonic, and luckily it does land. Its tackle takes us to half health, and we start using Poison Sting to cause damage. We both stick with using the same moves, but luckily we don't miss our attacks, while Bulbasaur hurts itself once with confusion damage, and misses a tackle soon after. Because of that, we were able to take the lead and finish off our rival before he can finish us. Another win against our rival, with us standing in red health. Oh well, time to continue grinding because we are nowhere near ready to take on Brock. We have been so lackluster against all these battles that I just know once we throw Brock's rock ground types into the mix, we're just going to be flattened. Right now the only game plan I have is praying for good confusion luck and poison damage. But Supersonic is real inaccurate, and Brock has plenty of ways to heal his Pokemon from poison, so the chance of us poisoning his Pokemon enough times for it to stick is not just slim, but it is also more probable that we will accrue enough damage to knock us out before it even happens. I'm going to grind to level 15 and see how we fare, even though it will most likely not be pretty. Yeah, it's definitely not pretty. We had a horrible start, missing Supersonic a couple times while getting hit by tackle. By the time we confused Geodude, we were able to have it hurt itself some due to having bad confusion luck. That helped us, but it took forever to poison it with Poison Sting. Surprisingly, Brock never fully healed it for the remainder of the run. But with all the defense curls it used, we were not strong enough to take it out. We got to red health, and we shortly went down. I'm not going to try this again. Let's grind to level 19 so T-Baker can learn Acid. Again, it's not a great move, and Brock's Pokemon will resist it, but it hits a little harder than the other moves we have, and we could have some luck in it causing a defense drop. We might be able to squeak by with that. We once again miss Supersonic as our opening move and get hit by Tackle. Luckily our second turn we were able to get Supersonic to hit so we can move on with our plan. It takes another 2 turns to poison Geodude, and soon after we do that, he snaps out Confusion. So we're going back to confusing him with Supersonic. He's really just spamming Defense Curl at this point anyways. I mean, we are getting hit by Tackle some, but the status conditions we have placed on him are enough for us to still be in a better spot than him. I decided to give Acid a go, but it really isn't doing anything thanks to Geodude's typing and all his defense buffs. I go back to Poison Sting, which looking back at it might not have been the best idea because Acid could have caused a defense drop at least. But one good thing happening right now for us is that Brock is still focused on pumping up Geodude's defense, so there are still wasted turns for him not hurting us, but still taking poison damage. We confuse him one more time and he soon goes down, but not before tackling us, so we are in orange health when Onix comes out. Again, we miss Supersonic on the first go, and take 9 damage from Onix Rock Tomb. We repeat the next turn with the same outcome, but this time we also suffer a speed drop. Because of that, we immediately go down to Onix's Rock Tomb. Well, it's worth a shot. We're still having the same problems we were having in our previous attempts. Horrible time getting Brock's Pokemon confused and poisoned, very weak attack damage, and Acid is not helping at all. The only difference now is our stats are allowing us to last longer in this battle, but not long enough to take out Onix. But we need more levels, and if we're going to grind, we might as well take this to level 25 where we learn Bubble Beam. If we can't beat Brock at level 25 with a decent water move, then I don't know what to do. Grinding here is very boring. I mean, the most experience we can get from a battle is 40 experience points, and since we are now in the 20s, we need to battle a lot of low-level Pokemon to advance in leveling up. I knew the start was going to be slow, and that we'd be brickwalled for a good portion of it, but I wasn't expecting page 4 of my script bad. Eventually we get to level 25, learn Bubble Beam, and take on Brock again. Yeah, just as I expected, this isn't even worth talking about now. Being level 25 and having a water move makes this battle too easy and too boring. We one-shot Geodude and Onix and move on from the slow first leg of the journey. Getting through the route before Mount Moon and Mount Moon itself was extremely easy. Obviously, we are over-leveled and no one really poses a threat to us. Also, Dome Fossil, if anyone was going to ask about that. Now, despite how smooth of a passage we just had through Mount Moon, fighting our rival on Nugget Bridge was actually harder than I thought, and it took 3 attempts. Aber and RedyTAY don't really do anything to us. Where we had issues is Pidgeotto would lower our accuracy considerably in some attempts with Sand Attack, and Bulbasaur was having excellent Sleep Powder luck, which gave it the advantage to whittle us down with Vine Whip while we were asleep. Our final attempt went like this. We were not able to poison Pidgeotto with Poison Sting on our first run. As it responds with Gust, I decided to hit it with Bubble Beam and go from there. Oh, okay. Well, it was strong enough to take it out. It does the same to Abra, but we already figured that. The same could also be said about RedyTAY, but not before it hits us with a quick attack. With Bulbasaur now out, I decided to play a little safe and hit it with Supersonic for some confusion luck. It misses, and we immediately fall asleep with Sleep Powder. While we are asleep, we get hit with Vine Whip and then wake up. Our acid takes Bulbasaur to half health, and then it sets up a Leech Seed. I am really surprised our rival decided to do that.
Because of T-Baker's ability, Bulbasaur saps HP from us, but it damages itself because of it.
Because of that, we are in a more secure spot for our acid to be strong enough to take Bulbasaur out. I guess that does answer my question if the AI would be smart enough to not use moves to trigger T-Baker's Liquid Ooze ability. I'm not saying Bulbasaur's Leech Seed gave us the win, but the amount of damage it took from it definitely helped. Misty took 2 attempts, and our victory consisted of some luck. Staryu is never a problem here, it's all about Starmie. In the winning battle, Staryu loses about 2/3 of its health to acid and then uses Harden. Our next acid is a critical hit, but I still think even if it wasn't, we would still be able to take Staryu out. Starmie is now out, and we are still missing Supersonic to start exchanges. When am I going to learn? We take some damage from Swift, and then poison Starmie with a Poison Sting. It continues with using Swift, and we switch over to using Acid. By the time it reaches red health though, Starmie uses Recover, taking it to green health. Fortunately though, some quick poison damage brings it back to yellow. We take some damage from Swift, and then we take Starmie down to red health again. It went back to using Recover. I don't want to relive part of this battle over and over again, so T-Baker attempts to use Supersonic again. This time it works, and Starmie hurts itself from confusion in the very next move. Misty uses a Super Potion and brings Starmie back to full health however. I'm starting to get worried at this point if we can even stick around long enough to win this battle, but I decided we need to stick with our offensive drive. So we hit Starmie with another Acid. This time it's a critical hit with a defense drop, and it takes it down to almost half health. Some more acid and poison damage, and Starmie is now standing with a sliver.
Misty decides to have Starmie attack, but it knocks itself out from confusion, and we in return get the Cascade badge.
Okay, now that we have 2 badges, we can head to Nugget Bridge and get the ticket for the SSN from Bill. While on the SSN, I battle every trainer there. We're at a pretty good level lead compared to the opponents we were facing now, but I need to get as much defense and HP as I can for the upcoming battle with Lieutenant Surge. He is likely to hit fast and hard. We soon get to facing our rival again. Pidgeotto starts the battle with a quick attack, and we reciprocate with a Poison Sting. It then switches over to Gus while we stick with our previous move, hoping for some poisoning. It doesn't take, and I decide to just hit harder and go with Acid. Pidgeotto hits us with a couple more quick attacks and Gus, and we finish it off with a Poison Sting. Kadabra and Raticate have evolved since last time we've seen them, but they still can't handle Bubble Beam.
Ivysaur also evolved and is still able to dodge our Supersonic. I know, that was a bad idea.
We are soon put to sleep with Sleep Powder, and we stay asleep the rest of the battle, taking damage from Vine Whip and Leech Seed until we faint. I am still surprised our rival is still not smart enough to not use Leech Seed. If we were at full health, we could have still possibly won that battle and be asleep the whole time. Our rival could have ended that battle with Ivysaur being at full health, but instead his starter was in the yellow all because of T-Baker's ability, and that one move. I really need to learn to attack fast from the start in these battles. No more waiting around for good poison luck against silly Pidgeotto. Speaking of which, it starts the battle just like last time with quick attack. This time however, we open with Bubble Beam and we one-shot it. Kadabra and Raticate go down the exact same way. Ivysaur is last out, and we are in better health than last time. Our acid takes out almost half its health, but we then fall asleep again due to Sleep Powder. Ivysaur then continues with its plan, like last time, with Leech Seed. This time we evade it in our sleep. I don't even know how that would be possible. Anyway, Ivysaur then goes on the offensive, hitting us with Vine Whip, and we soon wake up. We hit with another acid, which is enough to take out Ivysaur. Okay, now we're back on track. We now have the Cut HM and we are ready to take on the Electric Gym. I fought the trainers at the gym real quick so that we could have an easier time moving around to complete the trash can challenge, which took an annoying amount of time. Also, one of the trainers is the reason why I decided to try Tentacool and LeafGreen instead of the original Gen 1 games. Here we are against a Magnemite, and we are in a bad spot in this situation. In these remakes, the Steel type exists and they are immune to poison moves, so the only attacking move we have is Bubble Beam, and it's not really effective against an electric type. We go down in our first attempt at this, but win the second round. Once we get to Lieutenant Surge, the battle goes real smoothly. Voltorb is first out and we hit with Acid. That does enough damage to take it to yellow health, and it responds with a Shockwave that does less damage than I was expecting. Another Acid takes it out. Pikachu is now out, but goes down to 1 Acid, just leaving Raichu. Raichu handles Acid noticeably better than Pikachu, considering it is still in the green after we hit. It then uses Double Team, and I'm hoping we still have enough good accuracy luck here. I switch over to having T-Baker use Poison Sting, which takes the yellow health and poisons it. Raichu then gives us a status condition of our own by paralyzing us with Thunder Wave. We then have the unfortunate luck of Lieutenant Surge healing Raichu with a full heal, and we are too paralyzed to move. Raichu then knocks us to yellow health with a Shockwave, but we are fortunate enough to attack and knock out Raichu with 1 more Acid. Wow, I was not expecting this matchup to be so easy. It took me longer to work the trash cans than to beat Surge. Maybe he needs a Magnemite in the party. From here we go through the Rock Tunnel, and it's a smooth trip when you have a good water move to go against the Geodudes, Gravelers, and Onyxes from the hikers here. Slowpokes are annoying though. Soon we get to Lavender Town and face our rival. Pidgeotto is of course the first out and attacks first with Quick Attack. We have learned from our past mistakes and hit it first with Bubble Beam. It hangs on in the red, and I thought a Poison Sting would hit just hard enough to take it out, but it's still hanging on by a sliver after that. We get hit by Gust and a Quick Attack before taking it out. At least Kadabra still goes down to 1 Bubble Beam. Next out is Gary's new Gyarados. Our attack stat is now down because of its Intimidate ability, and our Acid isn't hitting that hard anyway. Its Thrash on the other hand is, and we are taking some significant damage from it.
Gyarados soon gets confused and takes some confusion damage, and several acids from us, bringing it to red health.
However, it soon snaps out of its confusion so it can finish this off with more Thrashes. Wow, that Gyarados is tough. Let's give this another attempt. Pidgeotto is again brought to red health from Bubble Beam, and we take some damage from Gust. This time though, Poison Sting is strong enough to take it out. For the umpteenth time, Kadabra gets one-shot by Bubble Beam, and out comes Gyarados. I decided to give Bubble Beam a go and see how much damage it deals. It really isn't a lot, and definitely not as much as Thrash. I stick with still using it, and we are fortunate enough to get a critical hit out of the next one. Thrash is still wrecking us, and even though we get Gyarados to red health from Acid, we are still standing with 3 health because of it.
Another Acid is strong enough to take it out, and we reach level 40, but we are in bad shape.
Luckily, Growlithe goes down to 1 Bubble Beam, but did we honestly think we would survive Ivysaur at this point? We hit with Acid, and we go down to Razor Leaf, ending the battle. Okay, we can't really win this. Maybe we should just head to Celadon and revisit this later? Our rival got really tough in that last half-hour span since we saw him last. So we're going to Celadon and immediately heading to the Celadon game corner when we get there. I spent a large portion of the money I've saved up and then spent some time on the slots so that we have enough coins to get TM13 Ice Beam. You know that I'm not a big fan of gambling, but we really need a good ice move here. After a while we get enough coins to get the TM and immediately teach it to T-Banker, replacing Barrier. From here we go to the grass gym, but you can assume it was a quick visit. When we got to battling Erica, it was almost a one-shot no damage sweep. Victreebel and Tangela both go down to a single Ice Beam. When Vileplume comes out, it hangs on with what has to be 1 health, paralyzes T-Baker with a Sunspore, gets healed by Hyper Potion, and then goes down to a critical Ice Beam. From here we head to the game corner to get rid of Team Rocket. Getting around isn't bad. None of the grunts here really have a way to beat us with us resisting their poison-centered moves. We soon get the lift key and face Giovanni. Both his Onix and Rhyhorn go down to a single Bubble Beam. When Kangaskhan comes out, I switch to Ice Beam, which only does about a quarter of health and damage. It uses a Tail Whip. I see if poisoning it would be worth a shot, but one poison sting fails to do that, so I switch to Bubble Beam, but not before taking a major hit from Mega Punch. It then bites T-Baker, but we finish it off with an Ice Beam. We now have the Silph Scope, so let's see how we fare against our rival back at Pokemon Tower. A level 45 T-Baker starts the battle by one-shotting Pidgeotto with Ice Beam and Kadabra with Bubble Beam. Our rival's dreaded Gyarados is now out, and our Ice Beam is still doing wonders by taking out a little over half its health. It starts to thrash, but one more Ice Beam takes it out. With that threat now gone, we end the whole battle by mirroring how we started it. Bubble Beam one-shotting Growlithe, and Ice Beam one-shotting Ivysaur. Yep, Ice Beam is such a solid pickup. Also, it's so nice getting through all these ghost battles with more diverse attacks. We get through soon enough and move on to Saffron. Right now the plan is for us to get through the Silph Co and then take on Sabrina.
If our first attempt goes horribly, then we will just head to Fuchsia, take on Koga, maybe even battle Blaine, and then go back to Saffron.
I think we might be in a good spot to beat Sabrina though. We have a pretty good level lead, we have impressive speed, so I feel like we'll be able to hit fast and hopefully hard enough to one-shot. Sabrina's Pokemon can hit hard with their super effective moves against Tentacool, but also they're not real stacked defensively. Silph Co is still a pain though, I always get lost in here. We do have to leave some just because we get worn down from all the battling that we do. While we are battling, we get to level 50, and I'm liking our HP considering where it could be. Our special defense and speed are nice, but once again, our offensive power is looking kinda lackluster. Also, Meowth, with its pickup ability, found 2 TM10 hidden powers in like the span of 10 minutes while we were here. Maybe I should check into that sometime soon. We get to battle our rival eventually, but once again, this is a surprising challenge. T-Baker is still doing well, but it's just hard for him to last battling these 5 Pokemon. Gyarados and Alakazam are still stalling us, and we don't have a way to end their part of the battle quickly, especially for Gyarados. This, and it doesn't help that through the middle of the battle, we go through back-to-back Intimidates, so our attack stat is just ruined. We always get to Venusaur, but in bad shape, where we just can't last long enough to take it out. So I guess we need to head to Fuchsia and take on Koga, and maybe Blaine, like I said. Realistically, I feel like T-Baker doesn't need that many more levels to beat our rival, but I think once we get to Koga, we might as well take care of that part in beating him and getting the badge. We do get some extra experience fighting some trainers on the bike path and the trainers at Koga's gym. Koga shouldn't be much of a problem. At least we don't have to worry about poison like we do in other runs, but I am worried about his Pokemons when it comes to defense. They can be tanky, and we need to hit hard and fast for some of these. And the first run against Koga is kind of a good example of that. We take out the first Coughing easily with one move. Koga's second Pokemon is Muck. Like I said, it can be tanky, so I decide to hit it first with Hydro Pump. Only problem is we miss. It starts the battle with Minimize, raising its evasion. Despite that, our second Hydro Pump hits and takes it to yellow health. It doesn't really matter though because Muck is soon healed from a Hyper Potion.
We attempt to get Muck back to that point, but it spams several more Minimizes, which prevents us from really hitting it while it slowly whittles us down with Sludge.
Of course I think this is just bad accuracy luck, so we're going to give this another go right away. And the second battle is a completely different round. Bubble Beam takes out the first Coughing easy. When Muck comes out, T-Baker's Hydro Pump hits on our first attempt. Muck sticks with using Minimize, but luckily our second Hydro Pump still hits, taking it out. Another Coughing, another Bubble Beam taking it out. Last out is Wheezing, and a Hyper Pump does a lot of damage, taking it down to red health. Its Sludge isn't hitting us anywhere near as hard, and we attempt to finish it off with a Bubble Beam, but Koga heals Wheezing up to full health with a Hyper Potion. Despite that setback, T-Baker one-shots Wheezing with a critical hit Bubble Beam. Well, there's another gym badge for us. That was a much smoother fight, and look, no self-destruct from Wheezing. Now we also have the Toxic TM, which I do plan to teach to T-Baker to replace Acid. I just want to get some progress in by getting the Blaine and getting the 7th gym badge. Look at me though, taking out Koga before Sabrina. So I head to the Safari Zone and get the Surf HM, and we soon get the Strength HM as well. Before we get the Cinnabar, I also teach Tentacool Surf and Toxic, replacing Bubble Beam and Acid. We soon get to Cinnabar Island, heal up, get some Max Repels, and immediately go to the Pokemon Mansion. I usually don't bother buying repels in this game, but the Pokemon Mansion was always particularly annoying with all the wild Pokemon popping up while you're just trying to get the key for Blaine's gym. Soon enough, we get the key in the mansion, and we get to the gym, this time getting all the riddles right. And it's nice to see they rewrote the Caterpie evolution question so it makes more sense. And forget about Tombstoner, because who would want that when you have a rock TM like Tombstone E? Blaine is probably the only gym leader that should be a definite easy sweep. Everyone else has a type advantage or a neutral type matchup with T-Baker where they could resist us. But this is a pure fire type, usually bad, AI Blaine. I'm not worried. I mean 4 surfs, 4 one-shot knockouts, no damage sweep. Let's head back to Saffron. Okay, back to battling the rival in Silphco. We are now at level 58, and Ice Beam is still the move of choice to one-shot Pidgeot. Surf then one-shots Alakazam. It takes me a second to figure out how I want to handle Gyarados, but I eventually decide to use Toxic on it. We poison it, and then take some damage from Bite. We are really taking out parts of Gyarados' HP with multiple Ice Beams, and it's also creating poison damage. But Gyarados is just spending this time using Leer, which makes me worried if T-Baker's defense will hold up against Venusaur. It soon goes down to poison damage, and next out is Growlithe. I'm glad I have so many special base attacks, because back-to-back Intimidates really beats up on your attack stat. Anyway, our Surf is enough to knock out Growlithe, last out is Venusaur, and we take out about 2/3 of his health from Ice Beam. Of course, we go to sleep right after from Sleep Powder because, again, of course we do. And just like the previous Lost Survival, we go down by Venusaur's attacks while we never wake up to reciprocate. All we needed was to land one more Ice Beam, but we still lose. There really isn't a reason why we can't beat Venusaur, we have just been having some horrible sleep luck. Here we go again. Pidgeot and Alakazam go down the same way as last time. Our plan to take out Gyarados still works, but this time we take some considerable damage due to Gyarados spamming Dragon Rage instead of Leer. Our health is in worse shape than what it was last time when it goes down. Knock out Growlithe real quick with Surf, and we hit Venusaur with an Ice Beam as soon as it comes out, like last time. But this time, Venusaur misses its Sleep Powder, giving us the opportunity to finish it off with another Ice Beam. Finally, this major hurdle is cleared. Let's just take care of this battle with Giovanni and move on with the challenge. Giovanni opens up the battle by sending out Nidorino, which we one-shot with Surf. With Kangaskhan now out, I switch over to poison it with Toxic. It takes us to yellow health with a Mega Punch, and then we land a Hydro Pump which takes it down to red health. Kangaskhan then starts a Rage, which isn't dealing a lot of damage, and I misclick and having T-Baker use Toxic while our opponent is already poisoned. I thought Giovanni was going to heal up Kangaskhan, but instead it just continues to do a little damage with Rage and goes down from poison damage. Rhyhorn is another easy one-shot with Surf. Nidoqueen, though, hangs on with what must be 1 health in response with a Tail Whip. We just finished the battle with Ice Beam and free Silphco from Team Rocket. Finally, just a little bit of luck that we needed for the win. Let's see how we do against Sabrina. Basically, Sabrina is the opposite of Koga. Psychic is a major type advantage against us, but her whole team has terrible defense. Thanks to being at level 60 and our speed stat, we should be able to hit first. Hopefully, we'll be able to hit hard enough to one-shot her Pokemon before they mess up T-Baker. That or she does terrible moves like Side Wave. Let's see how this goes. I mean, we are off to a great start with a one-shot Surf against her opening Kadabra. Mr. Mime hangs on into red health though and sets up a barrier. We switch to Ice Beam to finish it off, but Sabrina heals Mr. Mime with a Hyper Potion. Our Ice Beam still hits, but only takes it down to yellow health. Another Ice Beam takes it down though. Alakazam is now out, but also hangs on from a Surf. It starts the battle with a Calm Mind. Another attempt to finish a Pokemon off with Ice Beam, and another chance for Sabrina to heal it to full health with Hyper Potion. This time though, our Ice Beam doesn't hit as hard, and Alakazam is still in green health after we hit. I thought that Surf would be enough to take it out, but it's still hanging on after that, and we then receive a Psychic from Alakazam that takes us to red health. We are in rough shape now. We were still able to take out Alakazam with another Ice Beam. I continue with that move, thinking it'd be strong enough to one-shot Venomoth, but it isn't, and we get taken down to 7 health from Psybeam. All we need to do is hit Venomoth with one more Ice Beam and we win. Nope. We hit ourselves in confusion and lose the battle because of it. Well, there goes our good luck streak. Our second attempt starts just like the last one. We one-shot Kadabra with Surf, and we take Mr. Mime down to low health with another one. Mr. Mime uses a Calm Mind, Sabrina heals up Mr. Mime, and we use an Ice Beam to take it to almost half health. One more Surf is needed to take it out. Alakazam is now out, and this time I see if Hydro Pump is strong enough to one-shot it. It is, and last out, just like last time, is Venomoth. I don't like how much damage Ice Beam was doing last time, so I decided to give Surf a go. Well, it was strong enough to one-shot, but that might be because of the critical hit. All that is left is Giovanni for our badge run, so let's get back to Viridian City. We are technically weak to ground moves, but as you can tell from our previous Giovanni meetings, he hasn't really been that threatening. He will have his best team at this point, obviously, but I still think we'll be alright. We take out Rhyhorn with Surf, just like we did earlier in this run. Actually, we take out the upcoming Dugtrio and the second Rhyhorn the same way. When Nidoqueen comes out, we switch over to Ice Beam to take her to red health. She responds with a very scary Earthquake that does 110 damage. I figured Giovanni was going to heal Nidoqueen, which he does with a Hyper Potion, so I decided T-Baker should hit with a Hydro Pump next. It connects and one-shots Nidoqueen. Last out is Nidoking, but a critical hit Hydro Pump takes it down in one move. Well, an almost no damage sweep. Even with our large level lead, Earthquake still hits like a freight train. It feels like we just battled our rival, but we have to face him again before getting to Victory Road. I am a little surprised that Pidgeot is strong enough to withstand our Ice Beam. Maybe we need to grind some more going into the Elite Four. Pidgeot does some damage with a wing attack, but we soon end this part of the battle with another Ice Beam. And then we also have the slightly concerning fact that Alakazam survived our Hydro Pump. All it does is a Calm Mind though, so we finish it with a Surf. Growlithe still goes down to single Surf, and just like that, everything is right in the world. Our rival's new Rhyhorn easily goes down to Surf as well. Gyarados, on the other hand, I am sticking with our carried out plan of Poison with Toxic, and then spam Ice Beam. I got a lot out of seeing Gyarados' Hydro Pump only doing 12 damage against us. Yeah, let's stick with that move. Actually, our rival does stick with that move, while we continue sticking with ours. Gyarados switches to Rain Dance, and then goes down to poison damage. Since we have a buff with Rain Dance, I hit Venusaur with a Hydro Pump as soon as it comes out. It does take the yellow health, which is a nice surprise. Venusaur starts out with Growth, which I can only think was done because the AI thought that since it was raining, a move like Solar Beam was not going to be strong enough, so Venusaur needed a special attack buff. Regardless, we knock it out with an Ice Beam and finish the battle. Wow, one attempt this time for the win. Victory Road is smooth enough, and before we know it, we are standing before the door that leads to the Elite Four. I feel like the Elite Four isn't going to be too challenging, except for one person in particular, Lorelei. Even though she's technically an Ice-type battler, most of her team is part water and will resist our moves. To make matters worse, they are all pretty tanky, especially that Cloyster and Lapras. I don't think we can hit hard enough to win this, but we will see. Maybe I try to Toxic them as much as I can? Let's give this an attempt. Lorelei's first Pokemon is Dugong, which hits us with some Ice Beams, sets up Hail, and Surf while we miss 4 Toxics in a row. Our 5th attempt at Toxic actually works, but by this point we are already in yellow health. Now we are both taking secondary damage from either being poisoned or being pelted by Hail, while attacking with non-effective water moves. We are soon in red health, and Lorelei heals Dugong with a full restore, so there goes our Toxic. The healing item use gives us 2 back-to-back turns to attack, so I use both of those opportunities to hit with Hydro Pump, bringing Dugong to half health. There's a very obvious problem here. Unfortunately, Hydro Pump is our hardest hitting move, and we just kind of exhausted all of our power points here, and we're still stuck on the first Pokemon. None of that really matters though, we are soon taken out by one more Ice Beam from Dugong. Holy crap. That was the worst Toxic luck I have ever seen. Okay, either we need to rethink our strategy, or we need to grind, because I only do decent damage with Hydro Pump, and we will definitely run out of power points for that before the battle is done. But we don't really have any real obvious TM options here. Maybe Hidden Power. Okay, so I replaced Hydro Pump with Hidden Power, and it's neutral damage. Yeah, let's go back to keeping Hydro Pump. Maybe Giga Drain? There would be a slight type advantage for a portion of our team, and we could heal from it. Okay, it's super effective, but the damage output doesn't feel like it's super effective. That, and we only have 5 power points for this move, so I'm not sure it's worth it. Also, what is up with our inability to land Toxic on these Pokemon? We give this several attempts, but it should come no surprise that we aren't even close to getting the win. I guess we have no choice but to grind. I'm going to aim for level 70 and see how that goes against Lorelei. Grinding actually did take a little longer than I expected because I decided to get leftovers so T-Baker can use them to heal while battling, but I didn't have the item finder, so I went to catch about 24 different Pokemon. But after battling trainers we haven't faced yet, and some with the Versus Seeker, we get to level 70 and don't do much better against Lorelei. But anyway, here are our stats at level 70. Our special defense is kind of fragile, but it's also one of our best stats along with speed, so I should be thankful for what it is. I mean, look at the fact that at level 70 our special attack is just now reaching triple digits. These stats aren't really the greatest, but we'll have to see how they fare when it comes to Lorelei, just to get a sense on where we stand. Sorry I'm so indecisive. Okay, so I again go to replace Hydro Pump with Giga Drain, and then commit to a 16-minute long battle with Lorelei. Buckle up. This is a marathon and definitely not a sprint. We were fortunate in poisoning Dewgong right off the bat in this attempt, right before I was able to set up a safeguard, so that's even better. This soon also sets up a Hail, and we are on the part of the plan that just deals with attacking Lorelei's Pokemon with Surf. The leftovers we are holding are basically healing us the exact amount that Hail is damaging us by. We do have some peace of mind knowing that Hail isn't crewing on us because of that. Along with the fact that Dewgong isn't really hitting us that hard, but to be fair, we still aren't really dealing major blows either to her. Because of that, we get Dewgong to red health, which puts Lorelei in the perfect spot to fully heal Dewgong with a full restore. We still can't use Toxic at the moment because of her safeguard. We were able to land a Surf on Dewgong, but then Lorelei withdraws Dewgong and sends out Lapras. Because of that switch, our Surf won't cause any damage to Lapras because of its ability. The safeguard is then lifted, so I attempt to poison Lapras to no avail. We get hit with a Body Slam and then the Hail stops. Our second attempt with Toxic works, so things are starting to kinda look up. We do get knocked down to yellow health from a Body Slam. We were still not paralyzed and able to heal some from leftovers. Giga Drain is also proven to be very useful here since it's strong enough to deal some damage. It isn't affected by Lapras' ability, and we can heal further from it. We continue several rounds with each of us using the same moves, and eventually we get paralyzed from Body Slam. Well, there goes our speed stat. We soon fall in red health from another Body Slam, but thanks to not being fully paralyzed, we were able to use another Giga Drain to take out Lapras and bring us back to yellow health. Cloyster is now out and being quite annoying with using Protect, so we are wasting our Surf power points. We aren't exactly swimming in those, by the way, all puns intended, and we need to use them somewhat conservatively. It also sets up another Hail, so we are back to leftovers only neutralizing the damage from Hail and not really healing us. Good news is, when Surf does hit, it takes Cloyster to half health. We waste another round of wasting a Surf because of Protect, and the next turn after that, it does hit, but Cloyster is standing in red health. I'm surprised Lorelei has Cloyster waste a turn by using Spikes instead of healing it with a full restore. Because of that, we were able to take it out with one more Surf. Slowbro is now out, and the slight good thing we have now is that we aren't really taking damage from Cloyster's Hail, but Slowbro is. It messes up a Yawn, but we also miss our Toxic, so that's just a wasted turn for everybody. Next turn still deals with Slowbro messing up Yawn, while we are changing gears here by not using Toxic, and instead just trying to heal more from Giga Drain. It actually hits pretty well as Slowbro is now at half health, and we are back in the green. Slowbro finally goes on the offensive by attacking us with a weak Surf, and we were going to finish it with another Giga Drain, but unfortunately we get our first fully paralyzed of the battle. The next turn goes the same way, but soon we were able to get Slowbro into deep red health from our last Giga Drain. We get hit by another Surf and take out Slowbro with an Ice Beam. Dewgong is now out and almost at half health. I want a little bit of a safety net in having Dewgong being poisoned, but since we are paralyzed, we are outsped and Dewgong sets up a safeguard, ruining our move. We get hit by Ice Beam and Surf while we're just spamming Surf to get Dewgong out. But like a lot of other previous attempts, as soon as Dewgong falls into red health, Lorelei heals her up with a full restore. We are also getting stalled some here because Dewgong sets up another Hail, we suffer some bad process luck, and we attempt to poison Dewgong again when the safeguard is lifted, but we are too slow and she sets up another one. That and I was stupid to think that maybe Ice Beam will do more damage than I was expecting. Obviously it doesn't. Regardless, I stick with having T-Baker use it to save on Surf power points. We are really in a tight spot here when it comes to us being able to effectively take out Dewgong. We get a small stroke of luck with Safeguard being lifted, and Dewgong decides to hit us with an Ice Beam instead of setting up another one.
Because of that window, we were fortunate in not being paralyzed, and Toxic landed.
Now we just need to hold out while Dewgong goes down to poison. It's a bit of a long drawn out process. We are sometimes fully paralyzed, we get hit by hail, and neither one of us is hitting the other one with any strong moves. Eventually Dewgong goes down due to poison damage, and all that is left is Jinx. It starts with an Ice Punch, and we take out about a third of her health out with Surf. Safeguard is now lifted, but we can't use Toxic in this turn due to being fully paralyzed. We are unfortunately hit by an Attract. I thought our efficiency was hampered before, but geez, holy crap. We end this battle after multiple rounds of being unable to attack from either being fully paralyzed or being immobilized by Attract. Meanwhile, Jinx is hitting us with Ice Punch that slowly outpaces how much Leftovers heals us. We were so close, and I'm really proud of the progress we made in that battle. I think we can still pull this off in our current level. Okay, next one we got the win, and this battle was clocked at a little over 18 minutes. We get another fortunate Toxic hit at the opening move of the battle against Dewgong. We switch over to spamming Surf now while Dewgong starts a hail and wastes a turn using a Safeguard. We then trade some Surfs, but it is clear that we are outpacing Dewgong in this offensive exchange. Of course, we get Dewgong at low health, and Lorelei heals her up with another full restore. We stick with Surf though, because the Safeguard is still in place, and I just want to get this part of the battle out of the way. Of course, that doesn't happen because Lorelei switches Dewgong out for Lapras again. And I really don't know why the AI loves going this direction so much. It was a common move in a lot of these attempts. Regardless, Safeguard is still in place, so spamming Giga Drains is the way to go. When the Safeguard is lifted, we are able to poison Lapras with Toxic. We do get confused by Confuse Ray and take some confusion damage and get hit by a Body Slam. We still stick with trying to use Giga Drain, and we are successful in landing them despite being confused. Which is good because Body Slam is hitting pretty hard. Eventually we take down Lapras while not being paralyzed. Cloyster is now out and we snap out of our confusion, and our Surf takes it down to half health. Cloyster then lays Spikes, and we take it down to low red health with another Surf. Cloyster then sets up a Hail and then protects itself from Surf for 2 consecutive turns. Finally our third Surf hits and takes Cloyster out. Slowbro is now out, and we quickly poison it so it's going to take some damage from it and the hail for the next few turns. Oh, and never mind, the hail stopped. We then deal some significant damage with a Giga Drain, get hit by Surf, and then mirror that by hitting Slowbro with a Surf. Slowbro then hits us with another Surf and then goes down to poison damage. Dewgong now comes back out, and we immediately poison it. It sets up a hail, and we hit it with a Giga Drain for a little recovery. Dewgong sets up a Safeguard, falls to red health from Toxic, and then gets healed by a full restore. We deal about a quarter damage from Surf, and then we both switch to attacking with Ice Beam. I am once again waiting for Safeguard to lift so we can poison Dewgong with Toxic and whittle it down from there. Dewgong doesn't really have anything that can drastically injure us, we just need to hold out for a couple turns. Soon we get Dewgong poisoned again, and we are in a better spot. Dewgong wastes a couple of turns with Hail and Safeguard, and we stick with Ice Beam. Dewgong attacks some, but really the poison damage is accruing more every turn, so I'm not so worried about the damage we are taking. Eventually Dewgong goes down, and all that is left is Jinx.
We are in a better spot this time, so I think we can pull this off.
I did make a dumb mistake trying to use Toxic while Safeguard is still up, but Lorelei wastes no time having Jinx use Attract. Because of that, we couldn't use Surf on our next turn, and immediately fall asleep from Lovely Kiss. Of course the Safeguard would rise as soon as we fall asleep.
We take some damage from Ice Punch while we are asleep, but we soon wake up.
We're still having a hard time landing Toxic though because of Attract. Jinx is still going back and forth and hitting T-Baker with an Ice Punch or using Lovely Kiss. We do spend another round of sleep, getting hit by Ice Punch and healing some from Leftovers. We wake up and we still haven't landed a move on Jinx. It is getting really frustrating at this point, so I switched to having T-Baker use Surf and attempt to just have some damage being dealt. Jinx does miss a couple Lovely Kisses though, so we do get back to green health, some from Leftovers. Soon after, we finally get our first hit by bringing Jinx down to half health with a Surf. But we soon fall asleep from another Lovely Kiss. We take some damage while being asleep, soon wake up, and our luck continues with us being able to hit Jinx with another Surf. She's still standing, but with a Sliver.
We then get extremely lucky in that our one Ice Beam hits and takes her out, allowing us to finally progress past Lorelei.
I don't care how close that was, let's just move on to Bruno. He should be an easier win. Out first with Bruno's Onix, and Giga Drain immediately takes it out. Out next is the stronger Onix, but Surf gives us the same result. Now we just have to deal with the fighting types, and out first is Hitmonchan. Our Surf only does about half damage, his Rock Tomb only does close to a quarter for us, but it does lower our speed. Another Surf takes it out. Hitmonlee is now out, outspeeds us, and one-shots us with a critical hit Mega Kick. Well, I wasn't expecting the critical hit there. Maybe next attempt will be better. Both Onyxes go down to critical hit Surfs. I use Surf again on Hitmonchan, taking it to half health, and it uses Rock Tomb, again dropping our speed. I decide to give Giga Drain a try, but only takes out a quarter of its health and damage. Because of this, we get hit with another Rock Tomb, with another speed drop. Hitmonchan then hits with a Sky Uppercut. It does land us a critical hit, but it's also not effective. We use another Surf to take out Hitmonchan, and Hitmonlee is now out and definitely faster. It misses its Mega Kick, and we use a Giga Drain to heal up. I know our HP might look like it's in a nice spot, but trust me, it's not. And boy am I glad we healed up, because when Hitmonlee does land a Mega Kick, we are stuck with 1 health remaining. We get up to 11 with leftovers, but clearly we are not fast enough to hit Hitmonlee first. It's a shame too, because all we needed was one more Surf and we would take it out. But no, we soon go down to another Mega Kick. Okay, that was not much better. Well, we are back to grinding. I guess I was just in too much denial about T-Baker's level and stats. It was really close when it came to battling Lorelei, and the fact that Bruno is actually giving us trouble means we just aren't where we should be in taking on the Elite Four. I'm going to get T-Baker to level 80 and see how we look. We have 6 rare candies at the moment. Some are from areas of the game, others are from Meowth using the pickup ability. I think I'm going to use them once we grind up to level 74 so we can save on time. I keep forgetting to show stats before diving into the Elite Four, so here's how we look at level 80. I mean, it looks better than level 70, but barely. Our speed and special defense look nicer. Too bad one of those stats is basically useless against Bruno, and the other one keeps getting debuffed from Rock Tomb. I'm glad our defense is looking better, but still not great. Let's get back to where we were in Elite Four and see how we stand against Bruno. Even at level 80, it still takes 15 minutes to beat Lorelei. I mean, we still win, but it's still long and drawn out. Man, Jinx can be annoying. We are hitting harder though, so that's nice. Battling Bruno is a much shorter battle. The Onyxes are still not a problem, obviously. Can't believe how much of a stonewall, unintended, Brock was in this game, while at this point, it's like T-Baker's sole purpose in life is to take out rock and ground types.
I decided to give Ice Beam a shot against Hitmonchan, but it didn't hit as hard as I was hoping.
We get hit with Rock Tomb, obviously, and our speed is once again lowered. But our Surf is strong enough to take it out, so we did some damage control there.
I tried Ice Beam again against Hitmonlee. It hit a little harder, but it's still not quite as much as I was expecting.
Its Mega Kick missed though, so that's nice. We switch back to Surf, and it is strong enough to knock it out. Nice to know that all that grinding allowed us to still be faster than Hitmonlee after one Rock Tomb. Last out is Machamp, and I don't know why looking back, I decided to start all these exchanges with an Ice Beam, but I did. Machamp missed its Rock Tomb, which was another blessing we needed. We stick with another Ice Beam, taking Machamp to yellow health, and it misses another Rock Tomb. It heals a little from a berry, and we take the yellow health from another Ice Beam. Machamp finally hits us with a Rock Tomb, and gets healed from a full restore. Our Ice Beam hits, and we follow it up with a Surf. Machamp is now back to red health, and hits us with a Rock Tomb. I figured Bruno was going to heal Machamp with another full restore, and he does, so I preemptively set up a Toxic. I decided to give Giga Drain a try at this point of the battle, and I'm really glad that I did, because Machamp hits with a pretty nasty cross chop, for it being a non-effective move. We were able to heal up some, dodge another cross chop, and hit Machamp with a critical hit Giga Drain. Machamp is still standing in red health, but the poison damage from Toxic is enough now to knock him out. I would almost say maybe we don't need grind after all if I knew Bruno's Pokemon were going to miss their moves that much, but no, we really needed these levels. The more attack power, the better at this point. With Agatha, I don't really know what to expect. It's nice to have plenty of moves to hit them with this time, and we're immune to poison, which is nice. Let's just go ahead and jump in and see how this goes. Also, ignore the level jump. I had to leave the Elite Four to get some items to help with replenishing power points, and came across some extra battles in between. Anyway, Gengar goes down to yellow health and does a double team. Another Surf takes it out. Out next is Haunter, but its defense isn't as good as Gengar's, so one Surf is all that is needed for the knockout. Stronger Gengar is now out, but it does take about the same amount of damage from Surf as the other one. It puts us to sleep with Hypnosis, followed by hitting us with Nightmare and Shadow Balls. We never really wake up and soon lose the battle. Okay, let's give this another go. We hit the first Gengar with Surf just like the last battle, but this time, after we used Double Team, Agatha used the full restore. We missed our next Surf, but the next one was successful. Gengar hits us with a Shadow Punch, but we finish it off with another Surf. Honor still goes down to one Surf, and we're back to facing the other Gengar. We hit it with Surf, and gets put to sleep just like last time. This attempt though, we wake up after being under for one turn and hit with a Shadow Ball. We hit with another Surf, and Gengar goes down. Golbat is then easily taken out with an Ice Beam, and all that is left is Arbok. Our Surf takes the yellow health, while it hits us with a Sludge Bomb. We are still in green when we attack with Ice Beam, knocking out Arbok and allowing us to get past Agatha. Much better. I can't even begin to describe how much of a relief it is to battle Agatha only a few times and not get stalled by ghost types. Then again, I'm not doing a normal type challenge, so there's that. Time to replenish the Ice Beam power points and fight Lance. I think we are prepared for him now. First out for Lance's Gyarados, we miss Toxic on our attempt to poison it. It does bite us, but for very little damage. Our next Toxic is successful and we get hit with a Dragon Rage. We heal up from a Giga Drain, and I'm really glad that we do because Gyarados following Hyper Beam takes us down to 7 health. Maybe I should have healed before this battle? Our Surf takes Gyarados down to red health, and it wastes a turn needing to recharge. Thanks to that we have to heal some more, and Gyarados goes down to poison damage. Dragonair is now out, and one Ice Beam is enough to take it out. The same can be said about the next Dragonair, and the Dragonite that follows. All that is left now is Aerodactyl, but one Surf is enough for the knockout. You know Lance really hasn't been all that intimidating in these runs. I know, I've been fortunate to have a Pokemon that can learn an Ice move in most of these runs. Let's not ruin the moment. Anyway, all that stands in our way when it comes to Elite Four is our rival, so let's give this a go. Pidgeot starts the battle, and surprisingly is strong enough to withstand our Ice Beam. It lowers our accuracy with the Sand Attack and gets healed from a full restore. Another Ice Beam takes it down to red health, but we miss the next Ice Beam to take it out. We then take some damage from an Aerial Ace, and finally get to take Pidgeot down with an Ice Beam. Alakazam is now out and gets taken the yellow health from our Surf. It sets up a Reflect. One more Surf takes it out. Rhydon is an easy knockout with Surf, and next is Gyarados. I skip Toxic and go straight to Ice Beam. It is not hitting as hard as I was hoping it would. Gyarados is still a big fan of Thrash, and is still hitting pretty hard. I decided maybe we should poison Gyarados and use Toxic. Gyarados is still continuing with Thrash, and we take a massive critical hit, leaving us with 19 health. Gyarados is now confused though, so maybe with some good confusion luck we can heal and get back in a stable spot? Things are looking promising with Gyarados hitting itself in confusion, taking poison damage, us hitting it into yellow health with Surf, and us healing into yellow health with leftovers. But the next turn dealt with us missing Ice Beam and Gyarados snapping out of confusion, letting it knock us out with Thrash. Gyarados is still a problem I see. Okay, let's see if we can do better in this next attempt. We are sticking with Ice Beam for Pidgeot when it comes out. It still hangs on to yellow health and uses Feather Dance to decrease our attack. One more Ice Beam takes it out. We also stick with hitting Alakazam with Surf, and it sticks with setting up a Reflect. One more Surf takes it out, and Rhydon goes down to the same move. Gyarados is now out, and we immediately poison it with Toxic. It's back to using Thrash, and we go to use an Ice Beam. If it weren't for poison damage, we would clearly be losing this offensive duel. Thrash is hitting much harder than Ice Beam, and the little poison damage added on is needed to tack on more damage to Gyarados if we want to keep up. Soon we are both in red health, but our rival heals Gyarados with a full restore. We are able to hit Gyarados with an Ice Beam, heal back into yellow health, and poison it again with Toxic. But another Thrash took us out. Is Gyarados going to be an actual problem? Yes. Yes, he is. I gave this a few more attempts and I still can't get past this point. So excuse me for a second as I get T-Baker up to level 85. Well, technically level 86 because we gained another level getting back to this point from the Elite Four. First attempt back facing our rival level 86 and we still lose, but it's due mainly to bad luck, so we aren't going to focus on that. Especially considering that the next attempt is the win. One more time, Pidgeot still gets hit with an Ice Beam. This time though, it's a critical hit and enough to take it out. Surf still isn't strong enough to take out Alakazam, but it is still sticking with setting up Reflect, so it doesn't really matter. We finished it and Rhydon out with Surf. The dreaded Gyarados is now out and we use Toxic on it right away. No Thrash this time though, it goes straight to using Dragon Rage. Ice Beam is hitting a little harder, but we gotta keep an eye out for those Dragon Rages as we keep taking them. The good news is our leftovers are healing us by about 12 HP per turn, so Dragon Rage is really only dealing 28 damage instead of its set 40. We get Gyarados to red health from Ice Beam, it hits us with a Dragon Rage, and the poison damage that it accrued is enough to take it out. Arcanine is a one-shot with Surf, but not before taking us back down to yellow health with an extreme speed. All that is left in the game is Venusaur. We fire an Ice Beam, taking it down to yellow health. Venusaur uses Growth again, once again wasting the move and allowing us to finish it and the game with Ice Beam. Wow, maybe I really didn't pick the right starter after all. Venusaur really didn't even put up a fight in this. Anyway, we win and once again knock off our rival and become the new Pokemon champion. The main storyline is over, but if you have seen my Snorlax Gen 1 run, I do want to see how T. Baker handles Mewtwo. And I'm going to assume not that well considering we are part poison and a sidekick with a killer special attack. But none of that matters because as soon as we surf over to Cerulean Cave, we come across a shiny Tentacool. Well, like, what are the odds? No, seriously, like, what are the... Oods? That's a weird typo.
I can't think of a more perfect way to wrap this Tentacool run up, pun intended, than to catch this thing with the Master Ball.
I mean, this is the only appropriate Pokemon to use it on. I feel like some people are going to complain about that, but oh well. I nickname this Tentacool the Watcher because this is the end, but clearly the moment has been prepared for. He's lax in nature and I don't really know why I'm sharing this. So yeah, all that aside, I get to Cerulean Cave and I'm reminded that you have to do other tasks on the Sevi Islands if you want to face Mewtwo. Yeah, I'm still on Cloud 9 with my shiny Tentacool. Like I said earlier, we're on to the next chapter. We're done here. All in all, this was a decent run. Horrible start, but that was expected. But from that point on, when it came to getting the gym badges, it was more of a medium challenge. Yeah, we hit roadblocks, but all that grinding at the start of the game really placed us in a better spot for other areas of the storyline. The Elite Four was what I expected for the most part. Maybe one of these days I won't have a struggle when it comes to Lorelei. I'm especially dreading her for the next challenge, where I'm going to try to beat Pokemon Blue with one Farfetch'd. I haven't really started yet, but I already feel like this is going to be a similar challenge, but in many ways worse. Stay tuned to find out how that goes.
Anyway, I hope you guys liked this run. If you did, please leave a comment and a like.
And if you didn't, still leave a comment. I would appreciate some constructive criticism. I'm still trying to find ways to improve and make these videos better.
And of course, please leave suggestions and subscribe for more challenges. Hope to see you guys next time. Geronimo.